E para a gente começar aqui, ótimo. Então, se você tiver alguma pergunta, a gente vai fazer no final. E se caso você não tenha a liberdade de fazer em inglês, você pode fazer em português e eu vou traduzir a pergunta para você sem problema nenhum. E eu só quero deixar claro que essa apresentação vai ser como sobre estudar nos Estados Unidos, né? E a gente vai falar, eles vão falar mais sobre graduação, mas eles também vão mencionar um pouco sobre pós-graduação, um pouco sobre curso de inglês, e para os alunos da FAAP que estão aqui presentes, a gente também vai falar um pouquinho sobre o ICEP Programs. Então, vai ter bastante assunto para a gente conversar aqui hoje. Então, I'm going to ask Evan to start sharing his screen so we can start the presentation. Então, aqui só como estudar nos Estados Unidos com a Appalachian State University. Evan, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. E antes de a gente começar, eu só quero explicar para vocês aqui rapidinho o que é o EducationUSA. O EducationUSA é a sua fonte oficial de informações sobre o estudo superior nos Estados Unidos. A gente é vinculado com o Departamento de Estado do Estado americano, né? E temos mais de 400 centros de orientação no mundo todo. E mais de 40 deles aqui no Brasil, que é bem bacana. E a nossa missão é a seguinte, é de facilitar o acesso a informações precisas, abrangentes e atualizadas sobre oportunidades de estudo no ensino superior nos Estados Unidos. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to pass it along to Evan and Karen, who are presenters today from Appalachian State University in Boone, North Carolina. So they can go ahead and start the presentation.
Thank you, Murilo. Let's see, Evan, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Let me take myself off mute. My name is Evan Lohmann. I am the Assistant Director for Education Abroad here at Appalachian State University in Boone, North Carolina.
And my name is Karen Binger-Marshall, and I also work at Appalachian State University, and I'm the Assistant Director of International Student and Scholar Services and Outreach. Specifically, I work with international students here, and one of the first things I do is help with visas and immigration. So hopefully I look forward to working with some of you in the future. So next slide, please. All right, before jumping into information specifically about our university, we thought we would start with an overview of higher education in the United States in general, because there are many, many universities and colleges in the US. I want to say there's somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000, so there's a lot of different schools to choose from. There's a few things to understand. They are located all over the United States, sometimes in large cities, in smaller cities, smaller towns, rural locations. It may be in states that you've heard of, or maybe places that you've never heard of before. There is also a difference between public and private universities. So public universities and colleges are part of the state system, and they are supported by that state. So for example, Appalachian State University, our university, is part of the University of North Carolina system. So we are public. Public universities are often less expensive than private universities, but private universities often have greater opportunities for scholarships. So that's something that every student needs to weigh. So I did include some information about financing here because I know that that is something important to many students who are looking to study in the US. And I think the main thing is apply early and apply to more than just one or two universities. Apply to, well, the number is different for everybody, but several, 3, 4, 5, 8, you know, just depends on how widely you want to look. But applying to many different institutions and applying early gives you a better chance of comparing financial opportunities at different institutions. Some may offer you more in scholarships, but others may have a cheaper sticker price. So it's up to you to compare the bottom line. It's also important for every student to find their best fit. Not everybody is going to be happy at the same place. So would you be happy at a larger university, at a smaller one, a medium-sized one? Would you be happy in a big city? Would you be happy somewhere with, more outdoor opportunities? So again, this is something for every student to explore and find what's right for them. The admissions process at many universities works in similar ways, but there's a lot of differences as well. So the message of apply early, I think pertains not only to the, to scholarships, but also the admissions process. Some schools may have deadlines that are earlier than others, so you need to look at the website, be in touch with your admissions counselors at whatever school you are interested in, and learn what all of the different requirements are. So transcripts, academic records, what tests do they require? Do they require an essay? Is there an optional essay? If there's an optional one, I recommend that you do it. It's always best to do the optional information to give them more information about you. Generally, when I'm reviewing an application, if I see more information about the student, I will like them more and want to admit them. And then most applications will also have an application fee, but in some cases it is possible to get a waiver, especially if you ask your admissions counselor. That's definitely the case with us. So that's a little bit of information about universities in general. But now we'd like to talk about a university more specifically. So both Evan and I work for Appalachian State University. We are located in the town of Boone in the state of North Carolina. And we are an example of a public university, and I would say also a fairly large one. You can see a photograph of our campus here. This is our campus and our town kind of together. So the campus is located in downtown Boone, and you can see that we're located up in the mountains. We're about 1,000 meters up in the mountains, so it is it's a really beautiful place. It changes with all of the seasons, and it does get a little bit cold. So if you don't know how to ski or snowboard, if you come to Appalachian, this would be a really good good place to learn. So let's see, Evan, next slide. So this so the previous photo was one of all of the campus, kind of an aerial shot taken from far away. Here you can see our campus up close. We have a lot of brick buildings, and again, you can see how we're kind of nestled in the mountains. And a few things to point out. You can see here our main dining hall, the cafeteria. You can also see the student union, and the tall building in the back is a residence hall, so a dormitory where students live. And I think this is a pretty typical one. Now I'll give you a little bit more general information about App. We have over 20,000 students now. So we've been growing. I'm used to calling us a medium-sized university, but I think now I can say that we are large. Yeah, on this slide, I'll start talking a little bit about our academics. So even though we are a pretty large school, at least in American terms, the average class size is not that big. We keep our average class size in the 20s, as you can see here, 27. Our student to professor ratio is 16:1. So the majority of your classes will not be large. They will range in size, but the average will be fairly small. So you do get to know your professors. So next one. So in addition to the classroom, we hope that our students get involved on campus. And there's a lot of different ways of doing this. And we find that the students who get involved in student life are often better students, and they become a part of the community. So we want you to take advantage. There are over 400 different clubs and organizations for students of all different kinds. Some of them are more focused on sports, athletics, music, arts, student government. There's all kinds of things. My favorite is one that supports international students. But whatever suits your interests, I hope that you can really join and get involved. On this slide, it also mentions that we have 20 different residence halls. So again, these are where students live. So there's a lot of opportunities to live on campus. Now, this one, I really like this picture because it shows you kind of the excitement of one of our football games, American football. So this is definitely a big thing at Appalachian, and in the fall on Saturdays, you'll find people going to games, and it's just a really fun experience. So this is something that I would encourage you to check out at least once or twice, or much more often. Now, if you're interested in playing sports, there are options as well. You can play competitively, but you can also play intramural sports just for fun. Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, there's, like it says here, there's over 80 to choose from. Next one, please. Okay, a little bit more information about our town. So we are located in Boone, North Carolina. It is very much a small university town. We have, like I mentioned, about 20,000 students. On top of that, we also have about 20,000 residents in the town. So when the students are here, we have about 40,000 people altogether. So it's not big, but it's big enough to have a lot going on. It's quite a safe town, and it's a very touristy town as well. You'll find a lot of tourists come here to go skiing or snowboarding in the winter, and in the summer to go hiking, camping, just there's a lot of outdoor sports in this area. All right, next one. Okay, so that was our town, but now you can see a map of all the United States, and we are located on the East Coast where you see that A. So yes, that's where North Carolina is. So we're on the East Coast, south of New York and Washington, but we're north of Atlanta and Florida, kind of in between there. Yeah, so you can see where we're located in the US. And one other thing I like to point out on this map, Appalachian actually owns an apartment building in New York City, in Midtown Manhattan. Yep, thanks, Evan. Yep, you can see the little arrow there. This is just something fun that I like to point out. And students can use it for academic purposes. So classes will sometimes take field trips there, but it's also something that students can just use if you want to visit New York, and it's really cheap to stay there. So something to take advantage of, even though you would be living in a little university town up in the mountains, there's a really easy opportunity to visit New York. All right, so next slide, you can see where we are in the US. And now I'll show you where we are located within our own state of North Carolina. So the capital of North Carolina is Raleigh, kind of in the middle there. And we are 3 hours west of Raleigh. We're also about 2 hours away from Charlotte. Those are the two big cities. Yeah, so we're in the western part of the state, up in the mountains. Charlotte is the closest large airport. So that is where most of our students fly in. And we actually pick students up from the airport since we're not very close. The other city that you can see listed here is Asheville. And that one is a really fun city. Lots of great restaurants and art and music, and they're also in the mountains. It's a really beautiful little city. And our office actually offers trips. We take international students to Asheville about once a year just to see something new. So that is where we are located. So this slide, I'll talk a little bit about the services that my office offers. Now, keep in mind that all universities around the United States will have an international office of some kind, and they will be there to support international students. So some of the things that I'm going to talk about are particular to Appalachian, but some of these are services that you will find at any institution. So do keep in mind that no matter where you go, there will be an international office that's there to support you. Okay, so some of the specific things that we do, we pick up students once a semester from the airport, usually in August and January at the beginning of every semester, and we bring the students to campus by bus. So it's a convenient service, it's completely free, and it's always really exciting to meet all the students there. Once we bring students to campus, all international students have to do a 3-day orientation, so you really get to learn all about the university and everything you need to know. It's also a great opportunity to meet people. Our office is the one that will help you with immigration and visas. So that's probably the first way that you'll get to, communicate and interact with the international office. They'll be helping you with the visa paperwork. We provide advising, not academic advising, but student life advising. So if you ever have a problem and you don't know where to turn, if the international office can't help you, we can at least tell you who can help you. We can point you in the right direction. So you can always consider us a place to start and a place to, come and get more information about anything. We offer a number of cultural events. So a lot of different events and organizations that you can get involved in. In the case of Appalachian, we've got some great programs called International Friendship Program, where you'll be matched with local families. You can really immerse yourself in the culture here. You can join cultural ambassadors, where you would speak in classrooms to students about your culture. So lots of great ways to get involved. Oh, and I didn't mention work authorization. So the international office at any university will also help you with work authorization, because students on visas in the US have a lot of restrictions, but you do have possibilities to work. It is possible, and we can help you through that process. So yeah, so that's a little bit about what my office does, but also how we can support students in general throughout the process. So from the time you get admitted to the university all the way until after you graduate, we are really here to support you. So Evan, I think you are up next.
All right, yes. So I wanted to, so Karen and I will both help with this, but to talk about the different types of programs that we offer at Appalachian that you may participate on, whether that is through an organization called ISEP, which stands for the International Student Exchange Program, or a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. We have several students come in each semester seeking a master's degree. And then we recently launched an English Language Institute known as AppELS, so the Appalachian English Language School. And so we will start with talking a little bit about practical information for ISEP students. I believe that Murilo is on an ISEP campus. So what this means is that through that university, once travel restrictions are lifted between Brazil and the United States, if you are not sure that you would want to come for a complete degree, as Murilo did, you can certainly come for one semester or an entire year if you would like to see if this is something that you would like. Many students who come through ISEP and through our exchanges, they ultimately come back for a master's degree. Some of them come back to finish their bachelor's degree. So a typical academic calendar here in the US, if they go off the semester, will run from mid-January to early May is our spring semester. So being on the Northern Hemisphere, our spring starts in mid-January to early May, and then our fall semester runs from mid-August to mid-December. And so fall is when we typically start our semester, our academic year, fall, spring, summer, and then that is one complete academic year. If you were to come as an ISEP student, what would happen is that you would need to work with your international office that's on your current campus, and they have one specific staff member who is dedicated to helping students apply through the ISEP process. So you would be nominated by your home university. After they send the information to me, I will be in touch with you in order to help you to complete application for admission as an exchange student for either one semester or one academic year. We do have insurance requirements here at App State that all students, exchange and degree seeking, must adhere to. So we have our own insurance plan that we can offer to students. We also allow students to purchase other international plans, either through your home university, if it's something through your country, to Brazil. There may also be other avenues for you to also secure insurance that is outside of Appalachian's insurance. In terms of housing and meals, again, same for exchange, you're guaranteed housing and meals. That is something that we provide at no cost to you. If you are coming, again, as an exchange student, or if you are coming as a degree-seeking student, undergraduate students will typically live on campus in a dormitory. One really unique facet is that you would be living with a US-American roommate. So you would be able to get to know someone who is native to the United States, make friends with local students from North Carolina, from all over the country, and they may even provide opportunities for you to help and interact and to go on different excursions and vacations around North Carolina and the country. Typically our rooms are 2 people in a single room with a shared bathroom. So something that you have to do is once you're admitted into the university, either as an exchange student or as a degree-seeking student, you would still fill out a housing application. And then we also have meal plans that can be used at any dining facility on our campus. As Karen had mentioned in one of the photos, we have a very large central dining hall that students can eat in or take food to go. And we also have little cafeterias and markets and cafes around campus that you can also use your meal plan at. In terms of academics, students can select courses from any department as long as you meet any of those prerequisites. So prior to arrival, if you were coming on an exchange through ISEP, you would work with me specifically on your course list. You would send that to me and I will enroll you into your preferred courses. And you also have up until the first day of classes that you can work to change your schedule. So currently right now, I'm working with ISEP students who will be with us in the fall, who are arriving in August. And I'm working currently to place them in all of their coursework. So I will do that before you get to campus. If you're a degree-seeking student, that is something that you would be assigned an advisor in our central advising office, and they would work with you on that process. If you come through ISEP, at the end of your stay, we mail a transcript free of charge to your home university so that your grades and your classes can transfer back and help you to complete your degree. And you can also request additional transcripts from Appalachian State at an additional cost. So we send one free transcript to your university if you're on exchange, and then you can still order more if you would like through a specific portal on our website.
Great, thanks, Evan. I'll talk a little bit about our degree programs. So if you want to come here to complete a degree, you are absolutely welcome to do so. We've got more than 150 bachelor's degrees for those who come to do an undergraduate program. And then we've got 72 graduate degrees as well. Most of those are master's degrees. So next slide. Yep. So most of our bachelor's degree programs take about 4 years to finish. And the master's degrees, we do have some 1-year programs, 1.5-year programs, and then also 2-year master's degrees. So the timing will be somewhere in there. Many of those programs offer scholarships as well. I think there are a few more scholarship opportunities at the master's degree level, but there are undergraduate degrees as well. Now, in our case, we do have a separate application for our scholarships, and many of those scholarships, their application is due in November of each year. So, for example, if you are interested in coming to Appalachian in August of 2022, a really good time to apply is September or October of 2021. That way you can meet the November deadline and you can be considered for some of our really big scholarships. Yep, again, this goes back to apply early. And then, of course, we do have an application. So in order to go through the admissions process, you would need to do the online application and then submit your transcripts, academic records. The SAT or ACT, those are optional tests. If you send them, we will consider that, but it's optional right now. We do need a proof of English proficiency though. So any of those tests that you see listed would be fine. The TOEFL, the IELTS, or the Duolingo. You do have to meet a certain minimum score though. If you don't meet that minimum, it's okay if you study more and then try to take the test again. Or you can just enroll in, Evan mentioned the App ELS program, our new English language program. And actually, if you start there, you can transition directly into Appalachian after brushing up your English. So that's just an option for you. Perfect. And I mentioned earlier that you'll have, actually, Evan, can you go back? That you'll have an admissions counselor no matter what school you apply to. And that is true of Appalachian as well. If you are applying for an undergraduate program, your admissions counselor, his name is David Stevenson, and he would be really happy to help you. And then once you're admitted, I'll be the person helping you with all of the visa and immigration paperwork. But no matter what school you are interested in, I really encourage you to contact your admissions counselor for 2 reasons. Number one, this is the person who can really help you and answer your questions about the application. And applying to universities can be quite complicated. There's a lot of different parts to it, and every school can have, differences. They might require different TOEFL scores. Maybe some require the SAT, but some do not. They have different essay questions. So they have different deadlines. So it's a really good idea to get to know your admissions counselor so that you can ask this kind of question to make sure that you are submitting the best possible application that you can. The other reason why it's good to contact your admissions counselor is so that they get to know you. I have to say, I worked in admissions for many, many years, and I really liked it when students took the initiative to contact me, and I got to know the student, and I got to know, oh, this student is really wonderful, and they would bring so many great qualities to our school. Like, we want to admit them. But if they only see your name on a piece of paper, it's not quite as memorable as somebody who has shown initiative and been in contact with their admissions counselor and asked really good questions and made an effort to just do everything really well. So I think, it's always a good idea to get to know your admissions counselor. So a way to get to know your admissions counselor at App is to email issso@appstate.edu. And we can connect you with your admissions counselor, whether you're graduate or undergraduate. That's actually my office email, but That way we can get to know you too and make sure that you're connected with the right people. All right, sorry, Evan. Okay, and then I'll talk a little bit about our app ELS program. Sometimes we call it Apples. So if you are somebody who would like to study English first before continuing in a degree program, Apples would be a great way to do that. Many universities will have their own English program attached to them. You can also find private English language programs. So there's many different options around the US for studying English as well. But Apples at Appalachian is one of them. And it's a small institute, and we offer a number of 8-week courses throughout the year. So you don't have to study for the whole year. If you just need, 1 or 2 sessions and then you transition into your bachelor's degree, that's absolutely fine. I think that's all about Apples. All right, Murilo, I think I'll turn it over to you, but as you can see, we do get snow here. This is about 10 minutes away from Appalachian.
Yes, and you can take snowboarding as a class, if I remember correctly, so that's really neat. I'm going to keep saying in English just because right now I'm going to take it off my advisor hat and I'm going to put it on my alumni hat, because I did attend Appalachian State University. I graduated from there with a major in communications and a minor in English. And I just want to, say how that was really the best fit for me as a student. I really found myself there. I was not used to the cold, but after spending 4 winters there, I definitely got used to it. And everything that Karen and Evan said is true. It's definitely a really awesome community of lovely people that are ready to embrace you and welcome you. And it was a wonderful, wonderful time. I remember that Karen actually was my admission counselor that I, email a lot and was asking a lot of questions nonstop. And once I got there, I got to spend a lot of time with her because I actually got involved with the organization that she advised at. And now I get to work again back with her doing this, which is really awesome. So I definitely had an amazing time. Ok, agora chegamos no final da nossa apresentação. Então, temos um tempinho, temos mais ou menos uns 20 minutos para as perguntas. Evan, if you want to stop sharing your screen, you can. Vocês podem ou fazer as perguntas pelo chat, sem problema nenhum, ou vocês podem fazer as perguntas aqui pelo microfone. É só abrir o seu microfone e falar. Lembrando que se você não estiver confortável em falar em inglês, você pode falar em português e eu traduzo para você. Karen or Evan, Marina is asking, is it possible to do a double major? What about work for international students? So 2 questions.
Yeah, so both good questions. And yes, it is possible to do a double major. That's something that you would need to speak to your academic advisor about. There are some majors that fit together more nicely than others. Some of them will have courses that double count, and so it's easier to double major. If you double major in 2 very different things, it might take a little bit more time than the 4 years. It might take 4.5 or 5 years, or maybe 4 years, but taking some extra summer classes, but it is possible. There are students that, there are lots of students that double major. It's also very common, maybe even more common, to do a major and a minor. So it's like a major and a half. So let's see, we do have both economics and design. With design, we have graphic design and product design as well. So there's a couple of different options there. And then let's see, there was a question about work. So international students are eligible to work on campus up to 20 hours per week. So you can come and get a part-time job and there's no extra paperwork. It's just already part of your visa regulations. If you want to work off campus, you do have to have special authorization. So working off campus is trickier, but if you want to work for the university, that's no problem. And there are a lot of part-time jobs. There are a lot of students that work in the library, the cafeterias, the student union. So yeah, lots of options.
I did work, yes. So I did work as a student there. I had many jobs. One of them, actually, I did work at the international office, which was really fun. I also work as an orientation student leader during the summer, which was awesome because, you know, you're able to work a full-time job during, you know, those breaks, which is really cool. And we did have a question here in Portuguese talking about if we are part of an app that you can look at the application. So I don't know if they're talking about the Common App. Is app a part of the Common App that you can apply?
Yes, we've been a part of the Common App for a few years. Let's see, film studies. We actually don't have a full major in film studies, but film studies is a concentration within the English major. So you can be an English major with a film studies concentration.
So Giovanna is asking, how can I get a scholarship? Do I need to contact some exchange agency here in Brazil? Giovana, só para te avisar, as bolsas assim da universidade você não precisa, né? Tem como você só responder os essays, as redações e tudo no site deles. E é claro que o EducationUSA oferece, né, as orientações para te guiar durante esse processo de aplicação. Karen, do you have anything to add in terms of scholarship, like any advice? You know, you said apply early, and you know, anything else that you'd like to add?
So some schools will automatically give scholarships. So there may be no extra application. You just apply to the university and they will have scholarship money that they can divide. Other schools will have a separate application for scholarships. So make sure that you check, because you don't want to just assume, oh, I just applied to the university, I want to see how, you know, how much they give me in scholarships, because they may have a separate scholarship application. So always check. Again, you can check with your admissions counselor and apply early, and that's basically it. And look at the bottom line, because some schools may offer you a lot of scholarships, but maybe they're very expensive to begin with. So you should compare, you know, if there are some schools that offer a lot of scholarships, what's the total cost you will have to pay after the scholarship? It might still be more than a university that didn't cost very much to begin with. So just always look not at the total scholarships that you get, but the amount that you will pay.
Thank you. Eu queria só adicionar algumas coisinhas sobre o ICEP. O ICEP, como o meu escritório está localizado na Universidade da FAAP, em São Paulo, o ICEP é um programa de intercâmbio que os alunos da FAAP podem aplicar para fazer. Então, se você está nessa apresentação e você é um aluno da FAAP, você tem como entrar em contato com o nosso escritório internacional e a gente vai mostrar todos os passos que você tem que fazer para poder realizar esse intercâmbio de um semestre ou de um ano. E a Appalachian é uma das universidades que você pode fazer esse intercâmbio, como várias outras. Então, essa é uma opção que você tem. A gente pode dar mais informações entrando em contato com a gente. Now, we did have a question about the difference between a bachelor and a master's. Can you explain that, Karen?
Oh, sure. Well, Murilo, it might be helpful in terms of an equivalent. Like in Brazil, is there an equivalent of both bachelors and masters?
Sim, sim. Yes. Então, a graduação would be or undergrad. Então, a professora que perguntou, eu perdi quem foi aqui, mas o seu bachelor seria a sua graduação, o seu, né, o bacharelado, your bachelor's degree. O master's é a pós-graduação. Master's will be post-grad or your master's, you know, after your graduation, your undergrad graduation.
Exactly. So yeah, the bachelor's is usually a 4-year degree after high school, and then after that you would do the master's.
Okay. They're asking where I can find information about the university. I can send them the website. Give me just 1 second, and I can do that.
Oh, there's a really great question here about kind of test optional. So yeah, this is a good question. More and more schools right now are going test optional. I would say that if you take the SAT but don't do well, maybe don't send it with your application. But the word well can depend a lot. So let's say you get, I'll just make up a number, 1,200 on the SAT. At some schools that you're applying to, that might be a very good score. But at other schools, it might be, not so great. I mean, I think in general, it's a pretty good score, but it will be better for some universities than others. So you may want to look at what their average is. And if you see that your SAT is at that school's average or higher, or even just a little bit lower, then go ahead and send it in. But if it's a lot lower than what the school is looking at, maybe don't send it in if they are test optional. And then I think another context in which I used the word optional was when I was talking about the essay. So some schools will say that their essay is optional. If the essay is optional, do it. Because the essay is a really great way for the university to get to know you. You can give them information, you can tell them what you want to know, they can see examples of your writing, but don't just make it like an impersonal writing sample. Make it about you, your hopes, your dreams, your background. We want to know what makes you special. And so, yeah, that's something that to me always looks good in an application.
We also have a question here. Does Appalachian accept transfer students? How does the process work? So can an international student transfer from a Brazilian institution to Appalachian?
Sure. We accept transfer students both from other institutions in the US, but also around the world. So the application process is the same as a freshman. Except you want to send your transcripts from your current university in Brazil. That's not a problem. Now, what takes an extra step is if you want credit from your university in Brazil, if you want that credit to transfer to Appalachian, it may or may not be possible. If you want to do this, you have to have your transcripts evaluated by an international credential evaluation service. This can take a few weeks. I've seen them take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. And then after you get this official evaluation done, then we have a transfer office that will look at it, and they can help make a determination as to whether, okay, yes, you get credit for this class that you took in Brazil, but not this one, but yes, this one. So they'll look at your classes individually.
So thank you. And Mariana is asking, has any school that accepted Cambridge Certify, or the most requests are TOEFL, IELTS, etc.?
So for our degree programs, we generally accept the TOEFL, the IELTS, and then Duolingo, which is, that one is new for us. And actually Duolingo, I'm finding, is very accessible, especially now, during the pandemic, people can't, go to testing centers as much. Duolingo is one you can do from home, and it's actually cheaper, and you get the results quicker. So I think it's a good one.
Yeah, and just to add at that, vou falar em português para Mariana, então você tem que ver da universidade. Então, as universidades mais comuns são o TOEFL, o IELTS e o Duolingo. Mas existem algumas universidades que vão aceitar o Cambridge e alguns outros testes de proficiência em inglês, sim. Luis Eduardo is asking about the apples, and if it's a preparatory to do as a course or a semester abroad, or can he do it as a summer course, a summer program?
That's a great question. Normally there will be Apple's summer programs available. This summer, I think they were looking to do something online only, but not an in-person summer option. But normally there will be summer programs, and it's really as long as you need. So it could be just the summer plus a semester, only the semester, 2 semesters. It's kind of what you need in order to get your English sufficient to go into a degree program.
Vinicius asking about full scholarship to graduation students. When you said graduation students, is that undergrad or grad students? If it's undergrad, I send a link for the Chancellor Scholarship that I was really happy when I found out this when I was a student, because my goal was to promote the scholarship for everyone as a merit scholarship, that it's really, really awesome. Então, eu vou falar em português rapidinho aqui para os alunos que você está procurando graduação na Appalachian State University. Eles têm uma bolsa de mérito, que é a Chancellor Scholarship, que praticamente é uma bolsa para 10 alunos que têm ótimas notas, né, tem bastante atividade extracurricular, e é uma bolsa integral. Então, ela cobre todos os gastos seus e também tem vários incentivos para você fazer viagens no exterior e outros tipos de coisas ali dentro dos seus 4 anos de faculdade. Então, é uma bolsa bem bacana. Tem o site aqui para vocês darem uma pesquisada, o que é bem legal. Ok. Giovanna is asking where she can do the proficiency test. I can answer that. Giovanna, então, depende de qual teste você vai fazer. Muitos deles agora estão oferecendo uma forma online de fazer o teste, né, por causa da pandemia. Então, é só pesquisar né, e marcar, agendar essa data para você fazer o teste. Ou se não, dependendo de como a situação vai estar em alguns meses, talvez eles tenham centros disponibilizados para poder fazer esse teste, né, in person, né, presencial. So Marina is asking, is the fall semester going to be in person, hybrid, online? Do you have any questions on that?
Yep.
It should be, so our understanding is that we are transitioning this fall semester to mirror fall semester of 2019 before the pandemic. So the majority of classes should be taught in person. I also teach, and I will be teaching in person. And I believe Karen's husband also teaches and will teach in person as well. So for now, we are planning on doing as many in-person classes as we possibly can.
And we realize that this fall might be difficult for many students. So if students aren't able to get visas, for example, in time for this fall, not all US embassies around the world are open yet. Some are open, but many are closed or only open for emergency services. So if you are looking to go to school this year in August of 2021, but you find that it's difficult to get a visa, yep. You can speak to your university about deferring. If you haven't applied yet, maybe you can wait to apply, or you can apply and then defer and ask to start instead of 2021, start in 2022. That will give you a little bit more time to plan. It will give more time for the Brazilian embassy to open, hopefully. We can't say when, but hopefully students can get here in 2022.
Sim, exatamente. Então, a gente não tem muitas informações, né, por causa da pandemia, quando os consulados, né, as embaixadas vão reabrir, quando os vistos vão começar a ser liberados, mas o que a gente está falando para os alunos é para ter paciência. Então, se você está procurando para fazer uma universidade, né, em 2022, a gente espera que até lá as coisas já estejam melhores, e daí, assim, a gente vai conseguir, né, poder abrir, aplicar para os vistos e todo esse tipo de coisa, sem nenhum problema. Karen, there was actually a really good question. Do you want to talk about that? So Marina asked, can university change their mind about accepting me if I ask to defer?
I've never heard of that. I suppose it's possible. In our case, we would only change our minds if we found out something really negative, like really terrible grades, or if the student lied about something. I've only ever seen this happen one time where we found that the student cheated on the SATs, but this is a very rare situation. So it's not normal. Generally, when you are accepted, but then you defer, your admission for the next time is automatic.
A Karen falou uma coisa muito importante aqui. Muita gente acha, né, que quando você já se inscreve, se aplica para uma universidade americana, você já pode, né, não se preocupar com suas notas, esse tipo de coisa, mas não é bem assim. Mesmo depois de ser aceito, eles podem continuar olhando as suas notas, vendo como é que as coisas estão, para ter certeza que você está continuando sendo um bom aluno. I'm telling them that, you need to keep having good grades after you get accepted into college. You cannot just let it go and just not study anymore. That's not an option. So Juliana has a question that if we are not vaccinated till we go to the US, can we get vaccinated in the US? We have to be vaccinated to go. You want to
Hopefully
talk about that?
vaccinations are required to enter. And I know that Karen and I are working with some administration to see if you do decide to become admitted as a student and receive a student identification number, if you could come here, even if you're an exchange student, and receive the vaccination here. Currently, it's under emergency authorization use only, meaning that our government cannot require it at the moment. If somehow the CDC, our Center for Disease Control, passes everything and it goes out of that emergency use, then it may or can be required by certain states or airlines, things of that nature.
Natália, se você quiser abrir o microfone para fazer a pergunta, você pode fazer.
Vou falar em inglês. So first of all, I apologize if my English is not the best or if I skipped something that you already said, but I have two questions. Does my English needs to be perfect? Like what level does the university requires? And you said that things might be done earlier, and I don't know if it was just an example, but you said like September of this year if we want to go next year. And how is this process working with the pandemic?
So the easy or the quick answer with your English level is that you need to pass, or get a certain score in one of the English proficiency exams. So either an 80 on the TOEFL or a 6.0 on the IELTS or 100 in the Duolingo. But in general, you want to have a level of English where you can, understand and participate in the classrooms. If you find that your English is not quite sufficient, then you can do, maybe one term in our Apples Institute. I think what we are looking at in the future is students starting at Apples in the summer, improving their English over the summer, and then starting, their degree program in August. So that might really work for somebody who speaks English pretty well, but they would like to just, get a little bit better before they, jump in and take all of their degree classes in English. And then, as far as the pandemic goes, it's hard to have answers. Like Evan said, it looks like we will be doing, having most of our classes in person in the fall, but also, things can change depending on, things get worse or better. But, hopefully most of our classes will be in person. The timing of applications has not really changed. If somebody is still looking to be admitted for August of 2021, it's not too late yet. So even though I said that September and October of the year before is the best time to apply, and that's true. So September and October is the best time to apply for the next August, because if you apply that early, it puts you in the running for more scholarships. But we still take applications for a long time. So even if someone wanted to start in August of 21, they could still apply and be accepted. We will continue taking applications for a few more weeks. But, as we've already, mentioned, and I'm sure all of you know, You know, visas are very difficult to come by right now, and for many countries impossible. So I find it very likely that many of our students that we are accepting right now will not be able to come in August, and they will need to defer to 2022. So Natalia, did that answer all of your questions, or do you have any more questions?
Yes, actually you did, but I have one thing that I would like to say, that it's like we are Brazilians, and USA, the USA is not accepting us to enter. So like my question was about this point.
Sim, yeah, it's a hard situation, é uma situação bem difícil, but we just have to wait and hope for the best. A gente só tem que esperar né, o melhor depois no final para as bordas abrirem e a gente conseguir voltar, né, a voltar indo para os Estados Unidos, fazer a faculdade lá e tudo mais. Então a gente só tem que esperar nesse momento. We just have to be patient. It's not the perfect answer, but unfortunately that's the reality we have right now. It's already 5:01, so se vocês tiverem mais perguntas, tem o meu e-mail aqui no chat, então vocês podem me mandar um e-mail para eu entrar em contato com vocês, a gente pode marcar uma reunião, eu posso deixar, a Karen também deixou o e-mail dela para vocês entrarem em contato, mas muito obrigado a todos vocês que assistiram a apresentação, eu agradeço muito vocês estarem aqui. Thank you so much to Karen and Evan that organized this presentation and talked about Appalachian State and how to study in the US. That was really, really great. I have a very special place in my heart for both of you and Appalachian, so thank you so much for doing this with me. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, and we really appreciate all of you coming to listen to us. This was a fun conversation, and we wish all of you luck. I hope that you all find the right place for you to study. And if that happens to be Appalachian, that would be really wonderful. And I look forward to being in contact with you.
Awesome. Então, muito obrigado novamente. E para mais informações para outros eventos, você pode acessar o site do Education USA, a nossa agenda, vão ter vários eventos, a gente faz plantão toda semana de dúvidas, então você pode perguntar para os nossos advisors qualquer dúvida que você está tendo durante o seu application. Tem outros webinars com outras universidades que você pode assistir, então tem muita coisa acontecendo, é só acessar o nosso site, mas muito obrigado a todos vocês, e qualquer coisa é só mandar um e-mail para mim e a gente conversa mais. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.